complete with ship's models and birds of paradise bestowed about her heavily powdered curls, she bid fair to rise far above her usual station. I must confess to a greater admiration for Eliza's queen than for Henry's king, for though both may be called cunning by history's judgment, Eliza has the advantage over Henry in having at least seen Marie Antoinette in all the Austrian's former glory, and thus being capable of the incorporation of that lady's vanished style in her present dress, while Henry is dependent upon the merest notion of humped backs and twirling mustachios, or a general reputation for squintiness about the eyes, for the affectation of his villain. And our own dear Madame Lefroy is to be in attendance at the Duchess's party as well, father, Eliza added. It is to form the chief part of her final evening in Bath. She returns to Hampshire on the morrow, and we cannot part without some notice on either side. I am sure you would not wish us to neglect so amiable a neighbour, so dear a friend, for who shall say when we shall meet again? But are you even acquainted with the Duchess, my dear Jane? My father asked, in some bewilderment. Assuredly, Henry began. Not, I concluded. That is to say, my brother amended hastily, the acquaintance is entirely mine, father. I have performed some trifling service for the Wilbur family in the financial line. The route tickets came to me. I had not an idea of it, my dear boy. The expression of pleasure that suffused my father's face at this indication of his son's advancement in his chosen profession of banking made the falsehood almost worth its utterance. But now we must be off, Eliza interjected firmly, or lose another hour in search of chairs, for our own have been standing at the door this quarter hour. Note: in Austen's day it was the custom to travel about the streets of Bath and other major cities in hired sedan chairs, carried by a man fore and aft. End note. It has quite struck 11, and how it snows! Do observe, my dear sir, the unfortunate chairmen. Bath's climate is usually so mild as to escape the advent of winter, but this night at least we were subject to a fearsome blast. And thus, as my father clucked in dismay from the drawing-room window, all benevolent concern for the reddened cheeks and stamping feet of the unlucky fellows below, we hurried down to the street, where indeed our chairs had been idle already some minutes, and settled ourselves comfortably for the trip to Laura Place, or would have, had not my shepherdess's crook refused the conveyance's close accommodation. This small difficulty resolved by the abandonment of the offending object on the stoop of No. 27 Green Park Buildings, the chairman heaved and hallooed, and off we went, with only the occasional bubble to recall the untidiness of the snowy streets, and the likelihood of a yet more strenuous return. I profited from the brief journey by indulging in a review of the causes of our exertion, for pleasure was unfortunately the least of them. However circumscribed my usual society in Bath, which is generally limited to my Aunt Lee Perrott's insipid card parties and the occasional indulgence of the theatre, when my slim purse may allow it, I am not so desperate for enjoyment as to spend a decidedly snowy midnight done up as a Staffordshire doll in a gay throng of complete strangers, more blessed and happy in their mutual acquaintance. Nor are Henry and Eliza so mad for rout parties as my father had been led to believe. My brother and sister had succumbed to my entreaties for support, and had gone so far as to prevaricate on my behalf. Note: Eliza de Feuillide was both Jane Austen's cousin and the wife of her brother Henry, but Jane usually refers to Eliza simply as her sister. It was a convention of the time to address relatives acquired through marriage in the same manner as blood relations. End note. From an awkwardness of explanation, I had deliberately withheld from the Reverend George Austen the true nature of our visit to Laura Place. We were gone in the guise of revellers indeed, but laboured in fact under a most peculiar commission. Lord Harold Trowbridge, my dark angel of recent adventure, confidant of the Crown, adversary of whomever he is paid to oppose, and general rogue about town, is the Dowager Duchess of Wilbur's younger son. He is also in the throes of some trouble with a lady. Nothing unusual.